Christmas Day is supposed to be about peace, about family, but for one Walgreens parking lot, it became a crime scene. Gunshots just shattered the holiday quiet. We're about to go inside the interrogation of a mother who committed an absolutely unthinkable crime, and we're going to uncover the confession that exposed a motive far, far darker than anything she first claimed. So that's the big question, right? What could possibly push a mother to do this, especially with her own kids right there in the car? We're going to follow the detectives as they try to piece together this really complex puzzle of love, jealousy, and, well, deceit to find the answer. Okay, so first, let's set the scene. Before any interrogation could happen, police had to deal with the incident itself, and what they arrived to was pure chaos. It all kicks off on Christmas morning. Amanda Jansen walks up to a car parked at Walgreens and just opens fire. Then she jumps back in her own car and flees, even hitting another vehicle on her way out of the parking lot. This starts a high-speed chase with the police, and get this, her 5 children are in the car with her the entire time. The chase finally ends when an officer manages to force her off the road. With Amanda in custody, the real investigation could finally begin. So once she's in that interrogation room, Amanda starts to build her defense. She doesn't present herself as a killer. Oh no, she's a victim, a protective mother who is just pushed to her absolute breaking point. Her first angle is to claim that her ex-boyfriend, Thomas Williams, who was one of the victims in the car, was abusive. She paints this picture of a man who beat her, who tried to force her to get an abortion. This is the foundation of her entire story. She was just a victim acting out of fear. And it doesn't stop there. She then spins this narrative into a whole conspiracy. She claims Thomas and his new girlfriend, Anna Terrell, the woman who was tragically killed in the shooting, were plotting together to take her baby away from her. In Amanda's version of events, they weren't just a new couple. They were these evil conspirators. And this, right here, was her motive. Or so she said. She argued her actions had nothing to do with the failed relationship. It was all about protecting her child from someone she decided was unfit and dangerous. She insisted every single thing she did was for the safety of her child. But here's the thing. The detectives listening to all this, they're experienced. They've heard a lot of stories. So they listen, they nod, and they start to spot the little cracks in her carefully built story. The puzzle pieces just aren't fitting together right. And boom, here it is. The first major contradiction. She says over and over again, I do not care about the relationship. I never have. But later, after some gentle questioning, she lets it slip, I did grow to love him. It might seem like a small thing, but it points to a much more powerful emotion hiding under the surface, not fear, but jealousy. The detectives, they sense this emotional core, and they start to press her on the actual facts of the day. And this is where Amanda's entire justification just completely falls apart. It all centers on one key object, the gun. Meanwhile, police uncover something crucial. Before she even went to Walgreens, Amanda gave her son all of her cash and her bank card. Now, why would you do that? It's not the kind of thing you do unless you're planning on doing something you might not be coming back from. This wasn't a spontaneous act of fear. It was starting to look a lot like premeditation. And when detectives start asking about that gun, her story just crumbles. First, she says it was just in the trunk. Okay. Then she changes it. The magazines were separate. They were never loaded. But they keep pressing, and she admits, no, one of them was in the gun. I loaded it last night. And finally, the whole truth comes out. She took the loaded gun from the trunk and put it on her person before she even left the house. The detectives have heard enough. After she tries to claim she loaded the gun because she was planning to go target shooting in the country on Christmas Day, the detective just cuts her off. He tells her point blank, that's not believable. And that's the moment her whole story of a panicked mother acting in self-defense is completely, utterly shattered. So, with her story in pieces and the evidence of premeditation piling up, the whole thing shifted. The focus wasn't on what happened anymore, but on the inevitable outcome, the legal consequences, and the real motive behind the shooting. Amanda was looking at some incredibly serious charges. We're talking first-degree murder, attempted murder, and 5 counts of child neglect. She was facing life in prison. Realizing just how strong the case against her was, especially after her story fell apart in that room, she chose to take a plea deal. Her sentence? 40 years. 40 years in a Florida state prison. A sentence that reflects the severity of taking one life and endangering 5 others, all in a public place on Christmas Day. In the end, the investigation concluded that this was never about protection. It was a calculated, premeditated act of violence, and was all fueled by resentment and jealousy over her ex-boyfriend's new life, a life she felt had been stolen from her.
This case leaves us with a really chilling question. Most of us have probably felt resentment or jealousy at some point in our lives, but this story is just a stark reminder of the dark path those emotions can lead you down when you let them fester, and when they finally cross that line into irreversible violence.